Time to abandon ship.
Oh no!
Here we go!
Can I persuade you to join us for a drink? It's a tradition.
Here, here.
Jar Jar, homie, my main man, quickly. Before the Separatists attack, get into the escape pod.
Hey! This is escape, then we're the pod.
Welcome back to Star Wars Escape Pod and our review of the Mandalorian and Grogu. And yeah, we've got the crew of the Escape Pod with us tonight. We will be diving into some spoiler territory, so you've been warned. And this might not be the only conversation we have about it. Of course, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Mandalorian and Grogu going forward for the next couple weeks. We might have a few more guests on at some point down the road. But in the meantime, this is our initial review, having now just seen the film only one day ago. And as of this episode, hopefully you've had a chance to see it as well over the weekend. But yeah, what a great thing to see a Star Wars movie in the theaters again. So without further ado, let's dive in.
Another happy landing.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back, Blake.
Hello there.
Hello
Yo,
there.
good to be back.
This is the way.
That's Darian's line.
Well, Darian can say it again.
He can't use his catchphrase.
Darian's coined it.
That's true.
Speaking of which, welcome back, Darian.
Sakuragar, boyos.
Hello there. All right.
Shut.
And welcome back to our other podcast crew member here tonight. We got Dan joining us.
Hello.
Hello there. All right. I mean, this might be a weird thing to say, but I mean, it's kind of feels good to just be back in the Mandalorian groove again, you know? Like something about listening to that music and
The music was pretty different, I will say.
It was still
compared
Ludwig.
to the show.
It was still Ludwig, but
it wasn't. That is true.
It had,
I got very different vibes. I guess it was less westerny and just more. I got very lo-fi vibes from it. Sci-fi.
Definitely different tone. Like Dan posted a link in our general chat here, I think it was, and there was a remix done. It was like a licensed remix of was it the main theme, Dan? It was by Boys Noise.
Yeah, I think it was the main theme, and it was by a group called Boy Noise, who's been on tour with Nine Inch Nails lately.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Here, I'm just like playing a little bit here, but okay, yeah. I'm definitely getting like the tech vibes like from that. That's that's pretty interesting.
You're not gonna put it on the air?
Yeah. Do they have? Well, hold on a second. I'll bring it up on this end. Do they have Boys Noise? Do they have Boys Noise on? Oh yeah, here it is. Oh yeah, it's on the Spotify. Okay, it's on the Spotify. Here we go. Let's try this again. I'm kind of digging that actually.
He's great live, and I highly recommend to get a chance to see him. Like he also did a remix of the Tron Ares album.
Oh, that'd be good too.
Nine Inch Nails, and it's really good.
Man, this is awesome.
Oh no, Josh was listening to it for the next 2 months.
This is going in my liked my liked playlist. Getting offline.
Next time we're playing board games, it's gonna come up, isn't it?
Yeah.
I really like the soundtrack.
We all go deaf.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Dan. It's
Yeah. Thanks, Dan. That's awesome. Yeah, it's 5.5. Oh, it's almost 6 minutes worth of that. That's awesome. Super cool. Okay, so the movie. It was. What do we all think? I mean, this movie is the first Star Wars movie to hit the big screen in.
It was 7 years. Is that right? I think I read that somewhere.
7 years. Yep.
Are you serious? 7
That's
years?
so crazy.
It's been 7 years.
No, maybe just a little bit over 6. Not a full 7. Is it? Is it a full 7?
All the articles I read said 7.
That can't be.
All the angry reviews.
They're lying.
This is what we get after 7 years.
Six years and 5 months. That's not 7 years, man. 6 years and 5 months. That 7 years. 7 years makes me feel really old. I mean, okay, we can say 7 years in December this year, but until then, I'm going with 6 years.
Well, you
and
won't
a
have to
half.
wait 7 years for the next Star Wars movie because Starfighter's.
Oh no!
Right, that's right. That's only almost a solid 1 year away, actually, because that comes out May. Actually, you know what? I think it's actually a solid year from now. It's like May 22nd or something like that next year, right?
And then you give
That's
Starfighter
exactly another year.
Yeah, it's exactly as of tonight. Recording this episode is May 28th. Sorry, May 28th. Okay, so we're like exactly a year and a week.
If you release this episode on May 28th, it's exactly 1 year.
Yeah. Well, people will be listening to this on the 25th, so yeah, we're just a few days off. So yeah, I mean, yeah, 1 year until the Sean Levy movie, but.
Your clocks.
Until then, I mean, we got a dose of Mandalorian and Grogu. Here's a question I'm going to throw out there. When a lot of us were watching the show and we got through season 3, there was a lot of, I guess, question as to where the show is going to go from there, because they ended it off in such a way that Mando and Grogu were, happy in their home, and, the most of the chaos with the business on Mandalore and with Moff Gideon and all that was kind of in there, behind them at this point. And I guess it felt complete. Like, it felt like a full story. Will there be a season 4? And there ended up being no season 4. They ended up kind of semi-ending the show and shifting gears a little bit and writing the movie instead, and taking the show from that small screen format to the big screen. What did you think about that?
I guess if you're asking me, I think a lot of my issues came from exactly that issue where I had a hard time in the middle. It was like a really awkward transition between what was the first and second plot. To me, I think it didn't feel like a movie because it didn't have like one driving plot. Instead, it felt like a condensed season.
Okay.
You could almost feel where the episode breaks were.
Exactly, which was really strange. It kept taking me out of the movie.
Okay, this episode is where Grogu goes off on his own.
Yeah, 100%.
I can see the natural progression of the plot line, like we had seen Zeb earlier in The Mandalorian in the show, and was it in the show or was it Book of Boba?
I don't think so.
They kind of all blend together now, but yeah, like it was, he'd made a live action appearance at some point in the past, and it was really cool, like, with the bigger budget on the big screen, it was really cool seeing Zeb like featured through the film. And there was some things about the movie that I guess, had its benefits being a film. But yeah, the plot line, almost felt like it could have been diced up into some episodes. And I think season 4, even though, and I don't know where I read this, but I think it was a quote from either John or Dave, one of the two. They said that season 4 would have looked quite different than the movie, even though.
Oh, interesting.
I'm kind of coming up with this on my own.
It was Jon Favreau.
Oh, okay. It was Jon Favreau. So Jon Favreau said it, yeah. And he said season 4 would have looked really different than the movie. So that gives me the indication that maybe the movie is not actually a translated version of season 4, but rather almost like a segue as to where they could have taken the story in season 4. Not to say that there won't be a season 4, but maybe that's kind of the thing, right? Like maybe just in case that season 4 doesn't happen, maybe they took some of the ideas and made it work in the movie so that they could still use it later on. I mean, like the whole thing with the deck of cards taking out Imperial warlords and stuff like that, that could easily be serialized in a TV format. Every episode you get
cards.
Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe that was probably did
you notice that?
Yeah, I did. It's probably. I thought it was kind of interesting because when you watch watch like I don't know, like old cop movies or like detective movies or something, like sometimes they're making like a crime board like a clue board, and they use like a deck of cards to symbolize like different people within a hierarchy of a criminal empire, or they'll like tape like or write on the cards and like, you know, tape them to the wall and make put strings between them. So I think it would maybe a tip of the hat to that, or also maybe there's an Old West that I haven't seen the reference for, that maybe this was in fact used
they
at
just
some
did, like
point.
wanted posters, what they used back in the day. To me, I don't know. It almost seemed like they were trying to canonize something out of like a board game.
Yeah, kind of.
Like that
It
sort of thing.
To me, it seemed like they were trying to assign value of targets by correlating the value of the card with the target.
Yeah.
Like that's what it seemed to be, what they were inferring, because like they actually called out the suit and position of one of the characters.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it was like I liked it. Like I thought it was interesting. It's definitely a bit of a step away from the typical bounty hunting, take the holographic looking pod with the image on it. You know what I mean? Like
I know why they did it. It's so they can now sell those cards at the Disney parks.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I already bought a set, before the movie came out.
There you go.
But it wasn't
You gotta collect them all.
Yeah,
That's right. Collect all
Maybe
the
it's gone
bounties.
up in value. Maybe it's gone up a few bucks. Yeah.
I'm reading this from the wiki. The original plan for the 4th season was centered on Grand Admiral Thrawn, and it was going to set up for the 2nd season of Ahsoka. But because of the labor disputes, which I'm guessing was the strikes, the season got pushed, and then Disney came to Favreau and said, hey, like, would you want to make a movie out of it instead of a season? And like, we'll give you a bigger budget. And so like Favreau decided to take that because it gave them opportunities that they couldn't do on the show, like doing Phil Tippett stop motion, building bigger sets, building like all these props and stuff. Instead of having a lot of it being digital, they went a lot more practical, which I appreciated.
It looked pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
And they were able to do Embo justice. Didn't have to have the Cad Bane effect.
Yeah. I mean, let's I don't know, let's get some initial impressions here. Like maybe Dan, you can kick us off. Like what was the feeling like in the room, in the theater? What was your audience like? You know, what was your initial impression of the film?
So seeing it on opening night, it's definitely different from back in the day where you'd have lines outside the theater. People camped out. Like the theater wasn't full, but it was pretty full. We had people showing up, nobody in cosplay, but we had people with Star Wars shirts. There was a few lightsabers. People were happy to be there. There was definitely Star Wars fans, but it wasn't like the old days where like it would be packed with, you know,
It was like a
Jedi
mob.
robes and like, mob.
Yeah.
But it's good attitude. And for the first time in a long time, half the theater stayed through the credits. And I haven't
First
seen that in a while,
which is surprising.
except for like a Marvel movie, or you know, if you're expecting something after the credits. But a lot of people just stayed around till the end, I think, to enjoy the credits. Like, so that was nice to see. But yeah, overall, people seem to be happy. I personally, I understand the critiques that people are saying about it felt like a season on the big screen, but you know what? I'm okay with that because I like the show and I really enjoyed the movie. Like, I enjoyed it, seeing it in IMAX. I enjoyed having it super loud sound where it was like blasting my eardrums. Like my watch kept telling me like, this is a loud environment. I'm like, I know, I enjoy it. I don't have my wife telling me to turn down the sound every 5 minutes. So I had a lot of fun. It's not the best movie. It's, you know, it's not like a huge Star Wars event movie, but I enjoyed the lower stakes, and for what it was, I just really enjoyed being in that world.
Very nice. What about you, Darian?
I enjoyed this movie. Wouldn't say I have any real strong feelings about it. It seemed like they should have spent some more time writing it. It has the best soundtrack of anything in Star Wars, maybe with the exception of Maul.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. So you really like the tunes, the jukebox.
Yeah, they went a little more sinister with this and added some more rock elements without can't think of the word, going too far from what Star Wars has done in the past.
Yeah. What else? Like, what did you think about the room that we were in? Like the theater, the IMAX experience. Was it worth the IMAX experience? Like, did you enjoy the audience we were with? Was it a bit quiet for your liking for a Star Wars movie? Like, what were your feelings on all that?
So that was my first IMAX experience, and I'm a little too big for those seats.
Yeah, the seats are quite tight.
The whole time I was.
The seats are the worst
I'm a
part
big
of
dude.
IMAX.
I find the rows are really, kind of tight together a little bit. There's not a lot of leg room. Yeah, it's not great.
You're the second person to mention that to me, Darian, to the specific screening about the chairs. I think they were pretty small.
What did you think about the audience?
The audience seemed to enjoy it. Like, everybody laughed at the same time as we did. It was nice to go with a big group. I don't think anyone really seemed to love it, though. Like, this is going to be I've watched everything else too much. Let's go back and revisit that movie.
Yeah. I mean, like I can see where you come from with that too. Yeah. What about you, Blake?
To be honest, it's funny actually hearing you guys share some of the stuff you read online, because I've read absolutely nothing in regards to people's opinion on this movie. So
right. No, same here.
It's interesting that I guess I'm kind of gelling with what you guys are telling me. Seems to be the common thing online. I don't know how to feel about this movie right now. I think I need more time to digest it still. I think I maybe had higher expectations for it, and now I don't really know what to do. Because I didn't dislike it. There was a lot of stuff that I thought was really cool. So I think there was a number of things that just didn't sit well with me. Like, I don't know how I feel about Rada.
Okay.
Feels like an awkward character to me.
I really liked this character.
Yeah, I did too. Actually, that was actually something I kind of made a mental note of something I appreciated about the movie, and also kind of took me by surprise with just his mannerisms and his perspective on things, and the way that he acted towards the Mandalorian and Grogu, and so like what about it, or are you kind of on the edge of, like, is it that like a character that was once in the most controversial animated Star Wars movie of all time making his return?
That was very funny. I thought that was very funny that he was in both Dave Filoni's animated theatrical debut and in Dave Filoni's movie debut.
Yeah.
Something I picked up on.
It seems like I liked Rada, but there was just something that was off the whole movie about him.
Yeah.
Like looking at the sun.
Literally, the son of Jabba.
I think part of what it is everything else was so believable.
Yeah, maybe
there's a couple of shots where it's just like I just don't buy it. And they changed his color drastically a couple of times, I noticed.
For me, it wasn't even the CG. It was just like his character's vibe. I just had a hard time believing he had any relation to Jabba whatsoever. And just the fact seeing this like riptide was just very bizarre.
I thought that was hilarious. Him having abs and stuff. It's just like,
yeah. I was surprised at how quickly that they've grown, or that he grows, because
they live so long.
Yeah, like I mean, they do, and it's almost like Grogu, right? Like, he lives so long, but has he changed at all in the last couple of years, or whatever the time works out between season 1 and this movie?
He certainly seems more capable, at least as of this movie.
He certainly, he definitely is a bit more capable. I guess, like, physically, I don't know if he's all changed all that much, but yeah, like with Rata, like, that we're looking at like maybe I don't know, like maybe 40 years, like, since his time in Ahsoka's backpack. Like
he was like a baby, right? In the Clone Wars, like
like an infant.
Yeah, he was an infant.
He did kind of express very simply his motivations, and like his thought patterns were kind of childlike in some ways. So maybe he's supposed to be, not just simple. Like he's very trusting, and everything's very linear. And yeah, it was. Now that you've said that, it's given me more thoughts to him.
One thing I appreciated was, here's a fully CG character, and I bought him. Like, when you compare him to Jar Jar, or like even Jabba the Hutt in the special editions, like he looked to me so much better as a fully CG digital character that was interacting with real people in the scene.
They did look good.
And then just looking at like the muscle sim, like the skin sliding, I thought whoever worked on him did a really good job. Yeah, especially 100%. For all the Hutts. Like that scene where the Hutts were fighting each other and rolling on top of each other. Like that looked to me looked really good.
Yes, yeah, because that's the kind of thing that is very easy to make it look really weird. You know, like
That's true.
It can come off as awkward and strange, and if you don't get the motion right, like you know, it's gonna look bad and not believable and kind of cheesy, and you know, I'm
when
I'm
Han
with.
Solo has to walk behind you and steps on the
Yeah,
tail.
yeah. Like I mean, there's so many tricks up the sleeve that it takes to make things like this work, and I'm with you, Dan. Like I mean, I really bought him. Like that was part of the reason why I'm kind of on board with the whole Rada thing, because you know, I was like, man, like, it surprised me as to how much he was in the movie, because when the rumor was on the street that Rada's in the movie, I was like, oh, man, that's got to be Gracchus the Hutt or something, like this big jacked up Hutt, like. You know, maybe bring in the guy, you know, the one that they made all jacked up from the comic books. Like maybe he's a villain. Like, you know, I didn't expect the plot line to be, hey, you got to rescue Jabba's son again. You know, like that was kind of funny, but also interesting because he's a different character now. You know, like he's a capable fighter and he doesn't want to go home, and you know, so it's a bit of a twist on something that we may have seen before, but yeah, like it was interesting seeing him as part of the main, you know, group of characters throughout the film, and I totally didn't expect that or gather that at all from any of the trailers. It didn't give me any kind of sense of, hey, this movie's about Rada the Hutt, you know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
I'm glad they kept that. Like they didn't spoil too much actually from the trailers, which was nice.
Star Wars is usually pretty good about that, which is good.
Yeah.
I do wish the main bad guy was like kind of a bigger villain. Like it was just like, oh, here's this little short, you know, Imperial imp.
Mm-hmm.
Like
It was.
they could have had like maybe a cooler bad guy, I guess.
Well, technically, the bad guy was the Hutts, but it was just kind of like a switcheroo halfway through.
Yeah. Something that really stuck out to me as like a big like yes moment was well, actually, first off, seeing Dave Filoni in the movie and getting some lines. You know, I know we've seen him before in his X-wing suit, but we saw him this time in his cowboy hat. Yeah, he's like, he's just got his daily wear on. Like, this is awesome, man.
He was just on set that day.
Yeah.
I was happy to see Appa show up.
Hey, Dave, why don't you take a seat over there and we'll just we'll photograph you.
Just ignore the cameras.
Yeah, thanks, John. You know, sure. I'll just I can, you know, give me some lines if you want. Yeah.
I mean, it was cool seeing Dave. It was cool seeing Embo. I mean, any thoughts on Embo? Anybody? I mean,
I thought it was well done.
Yeah, first time seeing him since Clone Wars. I mean, he's a great character. He's a great bounty hunter, and he was done. I
was wondering if we'd seen him before. So he's from the Clone Wars.
Yeah, he showed up a few times throughout the Clone Wars, and he's always been one of the more...
And he's a great character.
Oh, man.
His fight scenes were really cool.
Yeah.
Like, Mortal Kombat moves and stuff.
Yeah, he's very Mortal Kombat with his hat. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
In Clone Wars, he goes toe-to-toe with, like, the Jedi sometimes and holds his ground, you know? Like, he's got some crazy good skills. So it didn't surprise me at all, like, when he was able to take out Din, because he's a skilled bounty hunter. Like, we're talking, like, up there with Cad Bane.
Is he full droid?
No.
Does he what? Sorry? Is he part droid?
No. He's not a droid?
No.
He's alien species.
Yeah, okay. I think he's got, like, a mouthpiece on, like, something that helps him breathe. But,
respirator thing.
Yeah, like a respirator thing, but that's about it.
One thing I loved was seeing all the battle droids, but not a single one of them said Roger, Roger. They were treated seriously. And I appreciate it.
It's
and
nice to
cool.
see that again, yeah.
Yeah.
They've been programmed not
to. Like, they're actually a threat, you know? They weren't, like, bumbling idiots, like, oh, here's some slapstick. Like, they
yeah, that was, like, the worst part of Revenge of the Sith. Still bugs me.
So, yeah, I mean, like, Martin Scorsese, or Scorsese.
I thought he did a great job. Like,
yeah.
That was fun. And it was nice because Jon Favreau played that same race in the Solo movie.
Yeah.
And then so he got another director to play the same race in this movie.
Oh, I wondered about that. I kept questioning if John just played both. But I'm like, it doesn't sound like his voice. But I was like half expecting it to be him.
And then he made him be in a food truck because he directed a movie called Chef, where
such a good movie.
Jon Favreau played a guy, you know, in a food truck.
That's cool.
So it was nice, like, symmetry.
If you haven't seen Chef, it's a great movie.
I have not.
I definitely
I've been wanting to.
It's just it's a feel good movie. Like, like if you ever want to watch something that's not, like, you know, kind of lame and good movie, but also just like a feel good movie where no one, like, dies or gets bludgeoned to death, you know, like, It's a solid movie.
Well, see, that's the thing I like about Jon Favreau is usually he does these low stake feel good movies, except for like maybe Iron Man. But like he's notorious for like Elf and Swingers. Like he does all these movies that are like not huge epic stories, but they're just fun.
Yeah. There was.
I think I might know a bit where my feelings are coming from towards this movie, and it makes sense. But I guess emotionally, I wasn't prepared for it, and I think it's that this movie felt almost, I want to say, like for a younger audience than I had anticipated. It's like this weird like split where like there's moments that feel like very kiddish, but there's movies that moments, especially the action, is like quite serious. And I think that
a lot of people died.
Quite jarring. That's what I mean. So it seems like very jarring. And that is very true of the Clone Wars animated series, which makes sense. But it's weird to see it in live action, and I think that's throwing me off.
There was like moments that are almost like horror-ish. Like my wife kept jumping at like jump scares that kept happening. Like the rat in the pipe like jumped out, and then like I'm trying to think of some other moments like
I'm shot, baby.
The snake, the Amani.
Yeah. Like I love that.
Yeah,
snake. The dragon snake thing was cool.
That thing was cool. Yeah.
I got a funny story to share about.
I think it was called the Snake Dragon, which is kind of a boring name.
I got a funny story to share about the Amani. Quite a few years ago
Is
now.
that to a price?
Yeah,
I was going to mention
yeah,
this.
like
You tell.
So prior to this movie, the Amani have not really made a whole lot of appearances on screen. They've, for anyone who's like a very casual viewer of Star Wars out there, the Amani have kind of been this like weirdly elusive alien species where
they are from the EU.
Yeah, and were they in Star Wars at any point, like on screen?
Return of the Jedi, weren't they?
Yeah,
weren't they on Jabba's palace.
Jabba's palace.
One.
That's the one.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, and it's like kind of in the background. It's like it's like I don't know if it was a puppet or just like an awkward costume, but like it was there was like one, right? And they're not nearly as detailed. Like the one, if you look at like a good image of the one from Jabba's palace, like the detail on him doesn't look anything, like the detail that they put into the CG guys that we saw in this movie. Those, they made them look a lot better, and much more scary too. But from what we've always gathered about these guys, is that they're just another alien species like most of the others in the galaxy. And so a number of years ago when we played an RPG game, Bryce, some people might know who he is, like from the podcast, his appearances on the show, but he played as an Amani in the game and played him like any other alien species. And then here I am.
Well, you had a miniature that was an Amani.
Yeah,
which is already feels like it's so rare.
Well, I went out of my way to get one because he was playing as the Amani. So I'm like, I'll get the mini that reflects him, or I don't know, maybe he had the mini or something like that. Whatever the case was, like we went out of our way to get the mini to represent his character. And here I am watching the movie, and these guys start, like kind of creepily coming out of the water, and I'm thinking to myself, like, well, okay, like this guy's a bit of a villain, I guess. And then, like lo and behold, like they don't even talk. Like they're just animals. I'm like,
they're just bloodthirsty.
Oh man, dude. Like, I mean, Bryce's Amani was like a pretty civilized guy. Like, he was pretty like.
See, I mean, it was like the equivalent of like an Ewok.
Yeah.
Like he was like from a simple culture, but like fully sentient.
Yeah. Fully sentient, like not bloodthirsty, nothing like that. But yeah, it was kind of a funny moment, like just watching them sort of be brought to life again on screen. And
I'm very excited to hear his take on those.
I am too. I'm wondering if like he has any strong opinions on it, because I don't know if they've like I know they've shown up before, like in other forms of Star Wars content, mostly like as you say, like in the EU. I think they were possibly in the Revenge of the Sith Game Boy game, if I'm not mistaken. I could be totally wrong with that, but if they weren't in that, then they're in like I think they showed up maybe in a Clone Wars episode and like some comic books and some novels, but really like very scarce, like very, very not much about them. So
do we know if they were always originally from Nal Hutta?
No, I don't even know. Like I have no idea. Like it says on their Wikipedia page, it says that their point of origin is a planet called Meriden, and Utapau is where they adopted a home. And I think where I'm remembering them from the Revenge of the Sith video game, specifically on GBA, is that you at some point as Obi-Wan Kenobi, I think you have to fight some of them in a cave, like as you're kind of trying to escape.
So like on the way to seeing Grievous after
it's on the way after, actually. It's like as you're trying to get away from the clones, like you're trying to escape.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so like I think they're in a cave and like they attack you, I think. But what's weird is that it's not coming up on the references, like in the appearances of their like Wikipedia page, like it's not being listed. So I'm pretty sure that they're in there, but you know, take it with a grain of salt because maybe my memory's foggy. But yeah,
they were kind of awkward because like the Hutt twins at one point on Din Djarin's fallen into the pit. The Hutts yell out like, "Release the Amani!"
Yeah. It was kind of like a release the Kraken moment.
Or is it? Oh, sorry, the second time. It was after he escapes. They yell that, and then later they're just like living in that ship.
Yeah,
and he just comes in and murders them all.
Well, I took that more as like a trap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like an ambush.
I will always see it as him invading their home.
I love that turtle ship. It reminded me of Gamora from Godzilla.
Yeah,
that's from an animated show too.
That was also from Clone Wars.
Oh,
that was
yeah. You've seen that before. Okay.
Clone Wars.
I should watch Clone
Savage
Wars.
steals one.
Yes.
Oh, that's where it's from. I recognized it. I knew it was from there somewhere.
It's from the episode when Savage goes to the Junker planet, right? Like, and tries to like find his brother. I think that's the same one.
Yeah, the top's a little taller, but other than that, it's pretty identical.
Yeah. So yeah, we got a lot of Clone Wars stuff in here. Like we had Rada, we had Embo, that ship. You know, there was like
three things.
There was like so many things.
You had the battle droids. You had like
you had the battle droids. Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
they were cool. I liked them a lot. That was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah. Did you guys like the unmasked snow trooper look? Like without their...
That was so surprising. I thought it was a new trooper until I saw the one like put like the mask over like the
I
sheet
thought it was
over
a new
top.
guy too.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of
um,
neat. Like, yeah.
Apparently, that was a Macquarie image from like way back before they did the snowtroopers.
That's super cool.
That's very smart.
Though I suspect there's a lot of 501st snowtroopers that are pretty upset they got to redo their helmets.
Yeah, now it's not screen accurate.
Look,
That's right.
As a kid who grew up playing like hundreds of hours with my AT-AT toy, like I love the fact that we finally got to be inside of an AT-AT and like inside
That's
that
true,
cavity
yeah.
and seeing like the cockpit. Like I was so happy with those scenes.
Yeah, Dan, did you have the 1980s Kenner INT-4 Interceptor?
I never even knew that thing existed until this movie came out, and then like I saw like the advertisements and stuff. So I don't know how that escaped me.
Yeah,
I had the AT-AT, but I did not even know about that flying thing, which looked like a flying ATST's head.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. It was it basically acted as the escape pod that Imperial officer uses at the start of the film to get out of the AT-AT, right? He jets out.
And I know they had a toy for it, but
yeah,
I never saw it.
It's just straight up based on the toy line. This design was
That's the second time he's done that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was based on a Kenner
And Rebels
product.
they did that.
I think Rebels did too, but there, I think it was I think there was like one that was based off of a toy, I think, and then there was a lot of the ships that mirrored that of the toys because some of the toys mirrored the Ralph McQuarrie designs, so it was kind of like a little cycle that they had going there. But yeah,
interesting.
This
also did it in season 2, the Marauder, I think it was, when they're at the lava base for the Imperials. That was a toy originally.
Oh yeah, okay.
I think that's the same toy from Rebels. It is the same vehicle.
How about the
they canonized it in Rebels and then they brought it to live action?
Yeah, I think you're right. Sorry.
How about the Djarik match? I mean, like we finally saw all these creatures literally.
I thought that was live action. I didn't know they were real. Now they're real.
Yeah, I've got Star Wars
use
miniatures.
the same moves.
I've got Star Wars miniatures that are some of these guys, and like the designs were like spot on, like right down to the stone hammer that big troll thing has. Like I forget.
Yeah,
all the names,
it was literally just the same.
Yeah, it was like one for one. It was incredible. I was like, wow, this is so.
I don't know
cool.
how I feel about that. Are they just all like that? Are these like the only ones and they got made into a game?
I think it's just a cultural thing. I think maybe my guess is it started with like the gladiator match, and then it's kind of become a game that is then reflected into a board game type thing. It's
like maybe those are the strongest creatures from each of their planets. So
right.
They typically put them up against each other.
Yeah, and that thing
could also be
go ahead.
When they're in the cages, somebody could like dress them and give them the tools like in the game.
Yeah, and like that kind of thing happens all the time. I mean, like in our real world, like gladiator matches were like a thing. In like today's society, we have like video games that kind of recreate that experience. And similar things can be said about like F1 races and other things. But I mean, it happens like when you get something that's like a life thing, and then some form of entertainment or media like kind of comes out afterwards to entertain audiences with, right? So I think maybe the board game, the holographic chess game, was maybe based on the fact that there are gladiator matches out there that are happening with these monsters as like a particular set. I don't know why like that arrangement of those creatures specifically, like why that's a thing, but it must have started somewhere and then became like a trend, right? So I assume it gained ground by building like a big reputation. So for Rada to be in a gladiator match with those kinds of creatures to fight up against a Dejarik match, yeah, and like he said, the way that dude says it too, like he's like, yeah, this is a death sentence, like a Dejarik match, like no one can win a Dejarik match on their own.
I think it's just so chaotic you can't survive it. There's so many.
Well, there's just so many, and they're all like deadly creatures. So it's I mean, we've seen aliens in an arena, in a gladiator pit before, in Attack of the Clones, but like this one was almost like it had a different vibe, of course, being on like a very much more civilized planet with structure and buildings and tram lines and taxis and this and that. So
in this case, it was so uncivilized.
I guess it was a bit more of it was like a savage entertainment situation going on, but it's also featuring posters outside of Rada, being like the prized kind of fighter. And but yeah, I mean, like that kind of entertainment only comes from a reputation of having been built up over probably hundreds of years, like or thousands of years, right? Like the first Dejarik match was probably like 1,000 years prior or something like that, and it's just been like a thing ever since. Because it is weird that they would feature the exact same aliens that are on the chessboard. Identical. Right? Yeah.
With the same vest on.
Yeah, so I think the chess is like I think the chess game is based on the like the gladiator matches probably. But let's see what else here. Like I don't know.
Okay, we got to talk about this.
Yeah.
So apparently Yoda's race just builds mud huts like instinctually.
Yeah, I thought that was a very keen observation, because I was thinking that myself, like in the theater. I was like, man, like
I didn't even think about that. Is that why he built that thing around?
Yeah,
it was like Yoda's hut.
It was like a miniature version of Yoda's hut.
That's a nice touch. I didn't even think about that.
It's very thoughtful. Like it's very like inspired.
People always wondered what the deal was with Yoda's hut, like where it came from.
Yeah,
because it's like abandoned
planet.
But
yeah, I guess he made it out of clay, right? Like it's I guess something that's instinctual to their species, which is really cool. Like there's I don't know if you guys ever watched like the Discovery Channel or any kind of like animal documentaries, but it always blows my mind when I watch like some bird like stitch a nest together, having only been born like, I don't know, like a year ago. Like it's crazy, right? Like they don't necessarily talk the same way we do or communicate the same way we do, and yet they know how to do these things. It's all
twigs and poop.
Yeah, and like Grogu just knows how to make a mud hut. It's just kind of in his DNA. Like it's coded into his body in a way that isn't really explained. And I buy it because of that. I buy it because it mimics like something that's real, which so really cool way.
I know dogs instinctually make dens, and like a lot of mammals do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Appreciate seeing Grogu like grown up more, and like he's actually like he's using the Force, and he's like has more to do than just be like getting in the way and just eating random things.
Yeah. I liked Sigourney Weaver's character. We haven't talked about her yet. She played a very convincing, rebel officer. It's like she's going from door to door of all the science fiction franchises and just, playing a character in it. But
did anybody else think she was going to betray him? For a moment there, I thought she was going to be the one that was using him, betrayed him to the twins, and I was glad that didn't happen.
Yeah. I'm glad that she's not a villain. I never got the sense that she was behind anything though. But that's an interesting observation. I never really thought of it that way. I wonder if anyone else did. Any of you guys feel like she was maybe a bad guy?
No, it never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
I thought that moment when she was trying to keep him from sticking to what the twins wanted, sticking to the mission she gave, I was oh, there's more to her than what we're seeing. But yeah, and
she's getting paid by them.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of including the Anzellans in this plot? I mean, they were kind of comical relief as well as, a key thing to
people
make
love
merchandise
them.
on
That's
them.
the thing.
Yeah, people like Babu Frick.
And they pair so well with Grogu.
I thought they were great.
I enjoyed them as well. I honestly think though, that's the whole interaction between them is very cutesy. There's a huge chunk of the audience now that that's their thing. Because I've mentioned this yet, but my wife really, really loved this movie a lot. She thought it might be her new favorite Star Wars movie. And I have a feeling that whole thing has a huge chunk of why. So
yeah.
And the whole Grogu subplot.
They're the Ewoks for the new generation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think there is definitely a crowd pleasing element to the cutesy side of Star Wars. That's what captivated a lot of people about The Mandalorian was that you had this, tough kind of bounty hunter character paired up with this little green baby, and
right. He's just adorable and always up to no good.
Yeah, he's kind of, adorable and kind of ugly, but kind of not, and I don't know, it's just yeah,
probably what Lucas wanted Jar Jar Binks to be, but Jar Jar was just too annoying to win the audience over. In my opinion,
well,
I know some
Jar Jar wasn't nearly as cutesy.
Yeah, it's hard to make tall, lanky, and awkward cute. Trust me, I know.
I don't know, Josh. I think you'd pull it off pretty good.
I do want to say every time Grogu jumped, just this potato sack just shoots into the air. Just couldn't help but laugh. It just looks so silly.
Yeah,
I appreciated that they kept his look being like a puppet. It's you saw George in the special editions try to undo anything that was too stiff and puppety, but I like that in this movie that they kept things looking
when he's running through the forest, he just looks very puppety. He's kind of waddled his way, but really fast.
Yeah, so I was there was two girls sitting next to me during the film, and any time that any kind of sort of cutesy moment came up in the movie, they'd be whispering and kind of giggling at it, and I was okay, yeah, there's
an audience.
There's definitely an audience, for this kind of thing, and it's it'll get a smile out of me. I'm not some heartless, you know what I mean? But I'm not there for Grogu. You know what I mean? I'm there to see a good Star Wars movie. I'm not there simply because of the character. But
all the time.
Who's
the
that?
Tone can only be Andor. That's it.
Yeah.
No, Star Wars is good at being able to do all these totally different age categories and styles and themes and have it mesh together.
Oh, absolutely.
So in this movie specifically, I don't know if it was too broad of the areas they were trying to put together.
I think, to me, the movie, I enjoyed the movie, but to me, the movie felt kind of safe. It almost felt like we're not really taking any risks.
Predictable.
Yeah, it just okay, after 6.5 years, we're making a return to the big screen, but we're doing it in the safest way possible to try and get as many people into the door as possible who knows this character, because didn't
Disney already do this?
Well, I mean, they kind of did with Solo, I guess. Like they made Solo.
Force Awakens, I was getting that. It was like super safe.
Oh yeah, Force Awakens was incredibly safe. And bringing back Palpatine was a very safe move, and but it's like, do people?
Solo.
Yeah, Solo as an entirety, existing was a safe movie. Like, hey, what do we do for a spin-off character movie? Hey, let's make Han Solo. Like, it's like, okay, that's a pretty safe thing to do. So, taking the number one most successful Star Wars show that they've made, it has 3 seasons as well as half of Book of Boba Fett. And, like make a movie out of it. Of course, it's going to be liked by a lot of people, like you have these likable characters and, it's like
if you're arguing like why make that into a movie instead of something else, I do feel like, especially considering the strikes and stuff that led to it in the first place, this is something that is much easier to then take and move forward into a movie than try to make something totally from scratch.
Here's a question for you guys.
Budgetarily wise.
Because a lot of people, like the reason that a Star Wars movie is such a big deal to us, us out there that are, obsessed, to say the least of it. This affects our viewing order, So like, what's the new
That's
protocol
the most
here?
Part of all.
Yeah, what's the new protocol? What would you be now that a new Star Wars movie has been introduced, and have you met some like completely, like somebody who's been living under a rock, never seen Star Wars before ever? Typically people have a way of showing them, and over the years, I've always kind of been very much a chronological order. I've been like, I'll die on that hill. But when these spin-offs kind of come into the mix, it does add a certain element of like, oh, okay, well, do we include this? Is it really necessary for the Skywalker saga? Because Solo, it's like, okay, well, hey, he's a main character through the original trilogy. Like, he's pretty relevant in my chronological mind. I'm thinking, like, he's pretty relevant to kind of maybe see his movie in the order of things. It makes sense.
I would say One, if you're going to add an extra movie, Rogue One is the only one that's really worth it.
Well, I mean, but again, like, this is just like
this is the main series.
Yeah. Well, this is just where I'm coming from. I've always thought, like, watching Solo between 3 and 4 doesn't really throw anyone off the rails, right? Like, it's like, okay,
right.
We're introducing a new character. The movie does a really solid job at doing that, and then you see him in the cantina in episode 4, right? So it makes sense chronologically speaking. It makes sense. With Rogue One, it segues completely into episode 4, and because Andor wasn't a show that was even in the works at the time, it also introduces its characters in such a way that allows that movie to exist in its own space with A New Hope in the chronological order of things, right? This movie, being the only other spin-off movie that they've done to date, is kind of a weird one for my head to wrap myself, like to really grasp, because on the one hand, it does do a really good job introducing these characters in a way that, to anyone who has no knowledge of what happened in the show, it does a decent job just telling a story that's fun and entertaining and doesn't necessarily rely on previous events. And on the other hand, it's so one-off and spin-offy that it doesn't really make sense to put it in the chronological viewing order at all. When you're going from...
I definitely err on that side.
Yeah, like, I guess the only thing is, like, okay, we got some guy, like, hunting down Imperial warlords. It gives you the notion that the Empire kind of still half exists at this time. Like, that's the only kind of relevant information.
By that logic, then you have to read those books that came, the Chuck Wendig novels. It's like, you're not going to stop watching the movies to read those books, like, because they also talk about a lot of that stuff.
Well, yeah, but
honestly, I feel like it needs to be grouped just more with Mandalorian as its own. The real question is, do you include Book of Boba Fett because it has a third of a Mandalorian season in it as part of your Mandalorian watching?
I think that's a given. I think I'm always like, anytime anyone watches Mandalorian, I'm always
that's a whole other series.
Have to watch Book of Boba. Yeah, and it is like that's the annoying part about it, and that's why I'm saying, like, this movie is also kind of annoying in its existence for being what it is, because as cool as it is, it's like, hey, we can't really, to someone who's new, like, you can't really throw this into a very reasonable chronological format anymore. It kind of exists outside of that narrative in a way that Solo and Rogue One don't, you know? So in a way, it's almost being its own pioneer, really making a spin-off movie that is a spin-off movie and like is completely independent of the Skywalker saga, any characters involved in the Skywalker saga, right? Like this is kind of a lone wolf, right?
It's almost timeless. Like you don't really need to know where it is in the timeline.
Yeah.
And only fans are really going to care. Like,
right.
No, that's true. You can watch this totally its own thing, which is something you can really appreciate.
Yeah, for
all you
sure.
need to know is it's after the Empire has fallen.
Like if you watched only Last Jedi, you'd be so confused.
Oh yeah, I know. And like here's another thing. Like I always
imagine watching only Rise of Skywalker.
I always lump Solo and Rogue One into the Skywalker saga because for one, Rogue One it features Leia, Bail, and Darth Vader. You know, it's really just almost like it's not necessary, but it's really like, you know, entertaining to watch it back to back with A New Hope. So I always put that in. And then Solo, we're talking about the father of Ben Solo, the main antagonist and also hero of the sequel trilogy. And if you're watching the Skywalker saga in its full format with all 9 movies, it makes sense to throw Solo in the mix because he is a big part of that story. Even if it is later on, he is an influential character and also like a main character of the original trilogy too. So that's where my mind has always come from, watching like chronologically, throwing in the spin-offs in there as well. But this is the first spin-off that my mind struggles to really accept as like a necessity to put in there, you know, for all the Star Wars movies. So as much as I enjoyed it, it's also like, this is like the skeleton crew of the Mandalorian kind of narrative. You know what I mean? Like it's like so randomly
kind of its own thing
on the side that it's like, hey, I mean,
it's
okay.
It's more like Ewok Adventure.
Yeah.
What's funny because I got Ewok Adventure vibes from this movie at certain points.
What?
I did. Like,
no way.
I got like willowy kind of Ewok Adventure like vibes at certain points.
Was it like the music or the planets they're on?
I think it was the entire Grogu section where he was like survivalist Grogu.
Oh, I totally see where you're coming from. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't watch
like
Ewok
this feels this feels like the beginning of the first Ewok Adventures movie.
Yeah, it kind of does. I've seen those movies way too many times, man. Like I got that DVD when I was like,
why are you dissing them so hard then? You're obviously a super fan.
I mean, I don't like hate those
They're
movies.
awful, but I've seen them over 500 times.
They're not good. They're not good, but I've seen them many times, and you know, because that was all I had.
All
I was
the
like,
humanity.
when episode 3 came out, and I think that those 2 TV movies were released on DVD for like the first and last time back in like 2004 or
the only
6
time.
or something. It was crazy, man. Like I didn't know that they even existed until like Diego gave me this as like a birthday gift. And I was like, wait a minute, there's more Star Wars movies? And then I watched them and then I get it.
Brought to you from the Lucasfilm backlot.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like, didn't even feel like Star Wars. Like the first one didn't feel like Star Wars.
It's pretty different. It doesn't even look like Endor.
Nope. Anyways, getting off track here, but okay, so let me read out Kirk's review here, and then we can do some Pablo points and poodoos, and then maybe wrap things up.
We're going to talk more about more positives because there was some really cool stuff.
Oh yeah, I feel like we've been pretty positive. I feel like we've done a good job of that.
Because I haven't shared a lot of things I've really appreciated.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Yeah, list off a few more things.
Okay, first time seeing Nal Hutta on live action was super cool because we've only seen it in Clone Wars up till now.
That's a great point. Yeah.
And you could even see the moon of Nar Shaddaa in the background of some shots, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Also, the idea that they're living in what is essentially a giant mushroom, I thought was really clever.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
So he like crashes his ship because he was just gonna smash into it. I was just like, I thought they would like bail out or something, and they just drive. He just flies like directly through the mushroom. That came as quite a surprise to me.
I loved how much Mando used his flamethrower. Like the fight scenes, I thought were really well coordinated.
Yeah, fight scenes were awesome, honestly.
And I also really loved that they gave credit right after Pedro Pascal. They gave credit to the 2 stuntmen that have played Mando, the Mandalorian as well.
Yeah, that's right. Also, I didn't know this, but Brendan Wayne, one of those two stunt doubles, and I guess at this point we should probably just call them actors because, quite frankly, like they're probably in the set in the suit on screen more than Pedro is. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
And
he mostly does voice at this point, I think. This is actually something I was wondering because it's the theatrical, like the film. I'm wondering what percentage he was in the costume. I feel like it'd be more than the last few seasons because I know he's been pretty stepping away from wearing the armor all the time, slowly.
I guess, the thing is like, yeah, I mean, like how often do they need him on set? And like the answer is really they don't,
which is why it entirely just comes down to if he really wants to or not, which I would think, as this is like the theatrical release, that he would have been in it more than say the previous season.
Maybe. I mean, yeah,
he's a very busy actor too, though. Like he was doing Fantastic Four and what else at the same time as this, so I don't know what his availability was.
Fantastic Four, Avengers, Doomsday, I mean, like what else? I mean, he's been in a number of things lately. I mean, he was also
Nicolas Cage movie.
Yeah, he was doing The Last of Us. I mean,
that too.
Yeah, like, Gladiator 2. I mean, like there was
oh yeah.
Let me just pull up a list here. I mean, like he's been on fire with like the amount of projects he's been doing. Material List, so that came out this past year. There was the Wild Robot animated film. Like I don't know, he's a busy guy. Like he's done a lot.
It's like he has like what 10 minutes of him without the helmet on, and then the rest is just him in a sound.
There's two scenes.
Voices.
Well, it was one long scene, I guess, but yeah.
So Brendan Wayne is what I was saying before. Like Brendan Wayne, turns out I didn't know this, but his grandfather is actually John Wayne, who is a legend in American westerns. He was in Rio Bravo, True Gift, El Dorado, The Quiet Man, The Searchers, Stagecoach, The Alamo, The Shootist.
There's a lot. That's crazy.
Big Jake. I mean, like. Too. Yeah, his grandfather was like a big time like Western star.
Don't make me feel old. Please tell me you know who John Wayne is.
Of course. I think like a lot of people kind of know who he is, but like I didn't clue in that Brendan was in fact his descendant. Like that was that to me. I was like, oh man, like what a great way to like kind of carry that torch into Star Wars in some way. Like especially when the Western genre playing a character like Din Djarin. And with the
I felt like this was the least Western we got of Din Djarin.
Yeah,
well, it's nice that he's actually doing the stunts. Whereas I don't think John Wayne ever did stunts. He had stunt doubles would do like all his stunts. So in a way, his son is doing more than what he's done.
Kind of funny.
Yeah. All right. Anything else there, Blake?
You guys, well, I wanted to speak to, I think, this movie, which is maybe part of why I felt like it almost felt like a bunch of episodes combined, but it felt like it was such a mix of different genres. And one that really took me by surprise was the like 40s gangsters, 30s gangster stuff that they did when they went to the palace on the beach. Like the one guy's got Deveronian. I think it was Deveronian. He had like the Tommy gun, and then immediately after that, they did like a gangster car chase in the speeders.
Yeah, with those four stormtroopers packed into that tiny little speeder.
yeah, dude. I was like straight out of like a 30s gangster movie.
So good.
How happy are you guys to see the Razor Crest back, or a new version of the Razor Crest?
I'm very happy, but I also don't know if it feels like backpedaling.
I'm kind of like, I liked I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on it. I really, really dug the N1. You know what I mean? But it
doesn't really make sense for his profession.
No, it doesn't. And so it makes sense for him to have a Razor Crest again. But I was really hoping, at least during the film, like when we saw his residence again and it was parked outside, I'm like, okay, cool. Like there it is.
I did like seeing it. Like
I was expecting it to get some more screen time. Like maybe he actually takes it out for a rip at some point, like for one of the missions. But
it's just a side story where he just goes for a drive.
At least it didn't get destroyed. It's still there.
That's true.
Yeah. So I mean, I like seeing it again, but man, it's cool that he's got both ships back, sort of. I mean,
maybe Grogu will adopt.
I think Grogu gets one of them.
Here's the thing that I'm confused about. Here's the thing that I'm confused about. Like he refers to his ship in the show as the Razor Crest, as if it's the Razor Crest and calls the Razor Crest. And in
But it's
this,
a Razor Crest.
but it turns out it's just a Razor Crest, and he's now getting another one. So it means that the first ship he had is actually not called anything. It's just a Razor Crest, kind of like a Django's Fire Spray 31, right? Like it has Slave One as its name. But like
not anymore.
Well, screw them. Like that's it's Slave One. That's
Slave One. We're gonna keep that.
Yeah. And I mean, like as far as
Freedom One,
as far as Mandalorian goes, like we all knew it as the Razor Crest, and maybe the model was like something else.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I thought that was his like first name of the ship as well. I didn't realize that it was.
That's the part that I'm kind of torn about.
A model. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of torn about that a little bit, but other than that, I mean, like, hey, it's cool. It's cool to see it back.
The model is Crest, Crest, and then his first name is Crezt, President.
Maybe
because he's hip.
The remix version of it, maybe. All right, let's play a little thing from Kirk here.
Hello, everyone. It's Kirk here, your favorite Star Wars reviewer down under. Now, I got to see The Mandalorian and Grogu, as some people call him, on the big screen in IMAX on opening night. It was the first time back at a Star Wars midnight screening at 12:01 a.m. a few days ago. It was good to see. A lot of people came. I think the cinema was about 70% full, and it definitely felt cool to see another Star Wars movie on the big screen. So that part of the experience is really awesome. I think the last time, I went was at least the Revenge of the Sith screening, and that was also a good time. So it's always good when Star Wars is back in theaters. Now, when it comes to my review, I'll start off with the good. Like just going to the theater, seeing Mando on the big screen, and also the Ludwig Göransson score as well. I had a great time with. I think Mandalorian is probably my favorite Star Wars show, at least season 1 and season 2 was. Season 3 was pretty good, but didn't compare to 1 and 2. And straight after the movie, I found myself watching some episodes from season 1 and 2 and episode 5 and 6 of the Book of Boba Fett. Now, I enjoyed a lot of the stunts, the set pieces. I thought it was cool to see the opening first 20-minute sequence. I think was definitely the best part of the movie. And going throughout the rest of the movie, I really, really wanted to absolutely love this movie. It was a ton of fun, but it did feel like I was just watching 4 episodes of The Mandalorian, but like 4 kind of filler episodes, not like 4 episodes that was pushing forward the story of Mandalorian and Grogu. I felt coming out of the theater that I didn't think that there was any growth for either of the two characters. Mando's kind of still set in his way. Grogu's kind of still set in his way. Nothing really changed for them. They were just doing some side quests. And I guess if that's what you wanted in the movie, just like a fun time, a bunch of side quests, and great. But for me, I did feel like I wanted just something a little bit more, something to kind of push the characters a bit further. I think not having like a pretty strong, like convincing villain throughout the movie and having any motivational kind of thought pattern on their end was something that was lacking for me. Obviously, we had the two, the Hutt brothers, but they kind of fell flat for me in the end. I think a lot of the special effects and that whole sequence when the title was kind of like going through at the start of the movie, I thought was awesome. Reminded me of Top Gun. But aside from that, some other scenes I enjoyed was just like the quiet, peaceful kind of moments that Grogu was having with Mando when he was recovering from his sickness or the poisoning. I did think the dragon fight inside of the inside of that like lake cavern was really awesome as well too. But for me, that didn't in the end like save the fact that I thought this was a very episodic movie. It didn't need to be a movie, but it's still cool going to the movie theater to see it. In the end, I think it would have been probably a better step for Star Wars to make this a bit more of an impactful movie. But again, it was actually kind of interesting to see that you could probably watch this movie and not have any other knowledge of Star Wars. And I think the thing that most bothered me, which is kind of like the counterpoint to that, was like the start of the movie kind of set up a potential plot where he was going to go around and find all these Empire remnants, but I feel like he kept going back to the same Rot of the Hutt or whatever the kid's name, the Jacked Hutt story was. And then every time that kind of ended and we went back to him and then he got kidnapped and came back and forth. I was like, let's just move on from this story. The whole Hutt storyline should have finished within the first 20 minutes. But anyway, that's where we landed in the end. I'm still looking forward to more Star Wars projects, of course. And on a scale from the Pablo and Pudu points, 3 Pudu points meaning really bad and 3 Pablo points meaning really good, and then a Bendu in between, I would probably give this movie a Bendu for me. It's probably one of the more lower ratings I've given a recent Star Wars project, but I think I didn't feel overly like thrilled about it, and I didn't really hate it or dislike any of the story choices. It was super safe, it was super casual and everything. I'm probably gonna watch scenes again in the future, just like on YouTube and things like that, but I probably won't sit down and watch the movie from start to finish a whole lot of like from start to finish again in any time soon. But I did go back and put on episode 5 of the Book of Boba Fett and episode 6 straight away when I got home, and I watched that, and I had a far more enjoyable time watching those. But nevertheless, still cool to see Mando and Grogu back, and hopefully we get to see them again soon, but we shall find out.
This is the way.
This is the way.
All
This
right.
is the way.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so
Kirk.
basically, Kirk just summarized what we talked about for the last like 40 minutes in like 5 minutes.
Exactly. That's a good summary.
It was very good. It was very accurate.
Yeah,
It also makes it feel like we kind of all have the same opinion, but
Well done,
very
Kirk.
similar.
Well done. All right. Well, yeah.
How did he know?
Yeah, Kirk sadly couldn't join us tonight, though. He has a premiere, and if anyone has subscribed to his YouTube channel, I believe his link is down below, so you can go find him there. And he's got shorts that he does all the time, every month or two. He does another one, so yeah, go and check that out. But yeah, thank you again, Kirk. Always great to see hear your valuable opinion. And I guess now it's time for, as Kirk has now kicked us off, to do Pablo points and poodoos for
Even explained it.
the Mandalorian and Grogu.
Kirk did.
He did explain it, but
That was very convenient.
Yeah,
He covered it all.
He did, but I mean, like,
You could have just put out his clip, and we could have just not recorded this entire episode.
we'll get the Mandalorian, the one and only, to explain exactly what Pablo Points and Poodoos is. So let's go over to the cantina and get into that. All right, Darian, do you want to explain exactly what Pablo Points and Poodoos is?
So we've got a 7-point system with Bendu being the one creep up to 3, and we do half points for anything that you remember. Pablo Poodoos are negatives, and we also give half points on the negatives.
All right. Well, a little bit of that cut out, but I think everybody understands what it is.
Only the important stuff.
Only the important stuff. Yeah. We're all good. Okay, yeah. So kick us off, Darian. What are you gonna give this one?
I'm gonna give it a Bendu.
Awesome. So same as Kirk. Dan, what about you, man? What would you give this one?
I'm gonna give it a 1.5 Pablo.
Okay, cool.
I was also thinking 1.5. Like, there's a lot of things I really enjoyed about it, but I guess I agree with Kirk. I just really missed that, like, kind of like driving narrative. I almost feel like it would have been better if this movie came out with like Moff Gideon as the villain. If it was like earlier.
If it was earlier, like as in.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Like,
as in
the Mandalorian like timeline. Yeah. Do like a theatrical release
like
to
a
like the
younger
Moff
version of
Gideon.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
it's just like at the end of season 1 or whatever it was.
And okay, so what's your score? Sorry.
1.5.
1.5. Okay, so we got a 1.5 from Blake. We got a 1.5 from Dan. We got a Bendu from Kirk. And we got a Bendu from Darian. Okay.
Maybe make it a 1. I think 1 is where I'm at.
1? Okay. All right.
1 Pablo point. Yeah.
All right. Let me just add this up here. And Kirk, we got a Bendu. I'm gonna give this one a 1.5 myself. I thought it was good. And I'm just gonna leave it there. I was entertained, and I mean, it beats most of the feelings I had walking out of most of the sequel films, which was, quite kind of sad and a bit underwhelmed, and this one, it's like,
there's no negatives.
No, there's no negatives at all.
Beyond it wasn't a bigger stakes. Like there was no no plot points were bothering me. Nothing was like, oh, this character was annoying. These jokes were annoying. It was just I
just felt like it was missing like a main driving thing. Like they transitioned to the twins that almost felt like an awkward transition of here's like the B side. You gotta
it
flip
should
the
have been
disc.
a bigger threat.
Flip the disc and then play part 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was another episode within the Mandalorian saga, right? And the narrative there, it's like it was a fun movie. It was, I guess, one more kind of interesting way to watch that story unfold. If you include the Book of Boba Fett as well, I mean, you know, now it's quite the arrangement of media to kind of jump back and forth with. And I'm kind of curious what Ahsoka season 2 is going to bring to the table as far as following this movie up. With a plot line that may or may not connect to the rebellion somehow, in some way, possibly.
Somehow, Thrawn returned.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll figure that out, I guess, in 2027 when Ahsoka season 2 hits the small screen at home. So
is it not for a year?
Well, it was speculated that season 2 of Ahsoka would come out at the end of 2026, but it is now officially early 2027, and it'll have 8 episodes. StarWars.com confirmed this only 1 week ago. And, you know, we know the rest, of course, with, you know, the returning cast and the recasting of Baylan Skoll and all those other things. We've talked about it before, but yeah, that's happening next year. So officially, Star Wars is kind of over for the year. And
what?
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
May.
It is.
Until Starfighter.
Until Ahsoka season 2, and then Starfighter comes after that. But
yeah.
I mean, for those of you who are kind of, you know,
Is Star Wars officially a springtime event?
It's to me, it's always been a May thing, you know, like historically speaking. But I mean, I know a lot of people feel like it's become a December
Unless you watched
thing,
like the sequels,
Yeah.
the December thing.
Yeah, and I've always thought of it as a May thing. I always felt weird about the December release, but
You don't want to burn out on it, so it's okay.
yeah, exactly. We got Ahsoka and Starfighter.
Don't tell me what to
next
do,
year.
Dan.
But nothing more for the screen this year. We do have 2 video games, though, coming. We have the potential for Zero Company to be released this year. That is still speculated as 2026 and it is.
Is there no release date on that game?
Yep. Well, not a precise release date, but you know, third quarter or something like that for 2026. So it'll happen most likely this year. And then we have a second video game called Galactic Racer coming out in, I think it's Q4. There's a exact release date for that as well, which
I cannot wait for that game.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I'm stoked, man.
That'll
Like,
be very cool.
that game is gonna be awesome. Like, you know, Dan, you and I are gonna be racing around together in our pod racers and skiffs and speeders and all those things. Say again?
Is it VR only?
I wish I had a VR version where you could be in the cockpit and race.
Yeah. No, it's not VR.
It's not VR.
No, that was
It's not VR.
That's so lame.
That was the Beyond Victory game that
Right.
happened
That's
last
what we
year.
thought, but it's not even first person.
Yeah, it's more AR.
Right. It's
exactly.
Yeah, Beyond Victory is more of an AR game. Yeah. So I mean, this one, it's like you know,
For those
it's
listeners that are technologically disadvantaged, that is augmented reality.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
yeah.
Makes more sense.
October 6th, that's when Galactic Racer comes out. PS5, Xbox Series X and S, as well as PC.
It will be very cool, though.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to features a single-player campaign set in the New Republic era, and it features a 1 to 12 player online multiplayer PvP. So, you know, it's going to be a good time.
Hello there.
Yeah.
We should do a podcast tournament.
That'll be fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, we should do it we'll try and see how many people we can get, because I don't know how many of us are actually going to buy it. But
is it going to be co-op? So you can do like a big race between everybody? That'd be fun.
Probably.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, they'll probably have
live
a team,
on the air.
They'll have a team like roster or something like
Or we
that.
just all crash Josh's place and play it together.
Yeah,
that'd be fun. I'll be down for that.
one person at a time. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that reaches the end of our review, the end of our segment. And, you know, we will be talking more about this movie in the coming weeks, of course. And, you know, maybe a little bit more about The Mandalorian and Grogu. And maybe we'll do like
on
a
how
what
long
happened.
until it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like, I mean, I'd say maybe 6 months, 5 months.
Oh, it's gonna be faster.
No way, 30 days.
30 days.
It's gotta be like October.
Well,
I'm saying a month and a half.
What month is it now? May. Okay, so it just came
Like,
out.
Give
it a 6 week.
By July for sure.
Give it a 6 week
It can be
theater.
box office related.
6
so like
weeks.
if viewings drop at the box office, I think it'll be there by the end of the month. or like not the end of, I guess sorry, like end of June.
End of June, July 4th. It'll be there or for Canada Day.
Yeah, July 4th would be the end of a theatrical run. So I think, and there's always a lull between theatrical run and the streaming because they always try and milk the digital at home platform first. So like there'll be rentals for about 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, that's true.
So I think so my thoughts is probably August 1st. I think August 1st we could probably see. Yeah, August 1st.
Good call. I agree with that.
Yeah, I think
it'll be for sale and rent in June, July, and then August it'll be for streaming.
And then the Blu-rays and stuff will probably come out in the same
2028.
month. No, I think August. I think we're looking at
You
August.
think it'll be that fast?
Oh yeah. For the movies, it's a different story. Like for shows, it's like you never know. But for the movies, I
still think they're batches. You think they're gonna do a steelbook? They better.
Oh yeah. They have to. I mean, they'd be. We have to like knock on. We have to smash their door down. If they don't release a steelbook, they're just saying no to free money.
It's true.
It's got to happen.
And I want all the behind the scenes in 4K.
It's a must.
I'm excited to see the behind the scenes.
It'll be very cool. That was the first thing my wife asked me when we finished the movie. She's like, "Oh, it's gonna be so good. I want to watch all the behind the scenes."
I recommend. Tested has already done a bunch of like looking at the props and stuff.
Cool.
Tested on YouTube with Adam Savage. I recommend those videos.
Yeah. There's already some good stuff online with like online content creators like marketing the film basically for them. For free, so it's always a good marketing strategy. Once you get the YouTubers involved, but I mean, there's some stuff online already. Some Easter eggs to be found in the rebel base that we see featured in the film. Some nods of the head to Carl Weathers in there, and some toys here and there, some other things. I mean, it's pretty fun. So definitely check that stuff out. Zeb, yeah, absolutely. All right, we will catch you all in the next one or the one after that. And in the meantime, may the force be with you. Dan.
Yeah.
I'm just saying goodbye one at a time. Well, it's either I say goodbye one at a time or I say goodbye to the group of you and then no one knows who to talk first and then it's just met with silence. So
this is easier. Yeah.
Force be with you.
Who talks first? Do I talk first?
All right, good. All right, we'll see you in another one as well. To the Mandalorian.
I have spoken.
All right, and thank you, Blake, as always, for coming on. We will catch you in the next one.
See you out there. Keep flying.
All right, big thank you to our audience for tuning in. It's always a pleasure, and it's always a pleasure to make Star Wars content that you enjoy listening wherever you are in the galaxy, whether it's in your own speeder, going to work in the morning, or taking your Grogu for a walk, whatever that means to you. Or if you're mixing up a smoothie at home with blue milk. I mean, there's nothing better than putting on a good piece of Star Wars content, one that doesn't annoy you, make you upset, make you angry, whatever. Hopefully we've just made you laugh and brought a smile to your face. And that is kind of the joy of doing this each week. So, we hope Star Wars Escape Pod has become a regular source of news and entertainment, as Rex would say. And speaking of which, here he is right now.
Republic forces have deemed Star Wars Escape Pod as the recommended source for news and entertainment. Subscribe, leave a voicemail, and share this show with a brother.
Yeah, that's right. Share it with your brothers.
Star Wars Escape Pod is the
And there it goes again. Share it with a brother. Share it with your friends and family. Leave us those 5 stars. It always helps us out. Helps us search algorithms and helps other fans find the show. So, for now, may the force be with you, and we will see you in the next one.